Hi, my name is Morgan. I'm with Compassion Prison Project, and last week we started our Giving Tuesday campaign where all through the month of November we will be sharing stories from our recent trip to Valley State Prison in September. Last week we started sharing stories of joy, hope, excitement, and all the things that brought smiles to our faces while we were at Valley State Prison. But we can't really acknowledge all of the joy without looking at the pain that lies underneath. So here are some of our volunteers telling us stories about the things that broke our hearts.
I know there was a young man who was super passionate and he told many stories about how he has to ask everyone, how are you? How are you? And that he doesn't let a brother pass him on the yard without asking them that question, or corrections officers.
Several of the guys that I connected with in our group activities were the same age as, my kids or, my son. And to hear their stories in terms of how long they've been incarcerated. My son is 25. There were a couple of 25-year-olds that I connected with while I was there. And one of them have actually been in the system since he was 12 or 13. And that literally just broke my heart, thinking about that he did not have a childhood and thinking about what my son or my children were doing at the age of 12 and 13 versus what he was going through, and how that impacted or how that impacts who he is today.
He said that, when the corrections officers, because there were a lot of pretty painful stories about those interactions too, that, when they start to bring their trauma to the table, you could say, that he just accepts whatever they're accusing him of, whether or not it's right. And he says, I'm sorry. You're right. I'm sorry. Because he knows that doing anything other than that is going to stir both of their pain, and thus maybe their aggression or their anger, and that it's more healing, more helpful to connect with them by just saying, yeah, you're right. You're so right. I'm sorry.
A gentleman had approached me after I talked a little bit about the symptoms of trauma on day 2, and was just asking me questions about, how to reconnect with people. You can recognize the trauma in another person, but what if they can't recognize it in themselves? And so he told me a bit of his story, and he's probably mid-40s, I'm not sure, but still looking for his mother's love, still desperate for his mother's love, a mother who won't talk to him, he says, doesn't want anything to do with him, and whose words he has ingrained in his brain of her telling the system to take him away when he was 12 years old.
Then I got to be in a small intimate circle with him, and he told us about how he never was asked how he was by anyone as a child. Not a mom, not a dad, not an auntie, not a community member, nothing, no one. And no one ever celebrated his birthday. And he was about to have a birthday. So we gave him a birthday party.